Thank you for tuning into our podcast, From the Darkhorse's Mouth. Today's episode is Press Play on Your Potential, Why Mindset is the Missing Link. And joining us is our co-pilot, Carly.
Hey, everyone.
And our guest, Kimmy Donahue, founder of Press Play Coaching.
Awesome.
How are you doing, Kimmy?
I'm doing awesome. Excited to be here.
Thank you
good.
For coming.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Happy Friday, and I've got my jeans on. Casual Friday. I've got my Darkhorse polo, and so we're gonna do a little flip the script, and I'm gonna put it over to you, Carly, to kind of start us off.
All right, we matched today, everyone. Dan and I, we both wore some white tennis shoes.
Wasn't playing. Must be a brother sister.
Yes,
thing.
I think so. We were dialed in, but anyway, thanks, Kimmy, for being here. Traveled all the way up here from Tucson, Arizona, so thanks for making the drive. We're happy to have you. How we like to kick these things off is just tell us a little bit about your background and then what led you to start Press Play Coaching.
Yes. Yeah. Well, as you guys know, I have a background in insurance.
Yes.
So going on 18 years, my entire adult life.
Wow.
And I got introduced to NLP, which is what I do, neuro-linguistic programming, through a real estate company that said, hey, there's this seminar talking about communication. I'm like, cool, we could all be better speakers and communicate better. And what I found was so much more than that. When I left that 4-day thing, my relationship changed with my daughter, with my friends, with my business partners, everything. So I dove into it more, started taking more of the advanced courses, and they offered a coaching program, and I went, I really want to help people. I feel like that's why I'm on this earth, and started learning about how to coach people. We're more of a guide, than telling people what to do. I've had coaches in my life, mentors in my life, and hopefully I can help people through the same things.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you mentioned NLP. Can you explain that a little bit more? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. When I first heard NLP, I'm like, what is that?
Yes.
The dumb people in the room you need to know.
I come from a family engineer, so when you look up NLP, it's a computer program.
Sure. That's where my head went.
Yep. Well, essentially, it's the same thing with your brain. So neuro, your brain.
Okay.
Linguistic is language, and programming or patterns. It's basically how we speak to ourselves, how we speak to others, and modeling what excellence looks like.
Okay. That sounds pretty easy to once you break it down like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to us from, a business owner since you're an entrepreneur. You mentioned you've been in insurance for 18 years. How has Press Play Coaching helped you, of course, help yourself, and then also just other entrepreneurs in the space?
Yeah, absolutely. What I found is a lot of entrepreneurs become entrepreneurs because they were once high performers, either, working for somebody else or, someone that wanted more. And a lot of high performers I found all feel like they're never doing enough, and
I know one of those.
Not good enough, not doing enough.
Yeah.
I'm one
Got
of those
here.
people.
Yes.
Yeah. Or feeling like, I could always do more, and they don't take the time to celebrate wins. And I love working with entrepreneurs, being one myself, but most entrepreneurs end up becoming more than that. I think they're very multidimensional. A lot of entrepreneurs open more than one business, throughout their lifetimes, and a lot of them come to me with, how do I juggle everything else going on in my life? A lot of them can be parents. Maybe they're taking care of their parents. My parents are getting older. I'm going to be in that position eventually.
Sure.
Some of them are still going to school. How do you balance things? And well, I had a mentor, and I mention him in almost every podcast or article that I write because it was such a big impact on me. He told me, Kimmy, there's no such thing as a work-life work-life balance. It is a blend, or some people call it the work-life harmony.
I like that.
I do too. That's really
powerful. Start using that.
Yeah.
It's not work-life balance, people. It's work-life harmony.
Yes.
Harmony.
And you're happier when you're at work.
I am. I love work. I love my family. Don't take that wrong. But yes. Sorry. Yeah. Continue.
Yeah. I found what happens is probably one of the biggest things that I found with any high performer, entrepreneurs or producers, is they come to me and say, Kimmy, I need more motivation. And that's one of my favorite topics to dive into specifically, because you're not always going to have it. It comes down to having discipline. And there's tools that we learn in NLP about how to change your state. So maybe you are feeling not so motivated.
Sure.
You can get yourself into that state. I think my secret that I found, because a lot of people ask me, Kimmy, how do you do all the things that you do? And that's not to impress anybody, but to impress upon you the fact that find something that lights you up, outside of work. So if there are days where you're feeling like, oh, I'm not doing enough, or I'm just not feeling it today, go and do that thing that lights you up, whether it's, a hobby or someone just posted this on LinkedIn that said, what do you do when you're not motivated? And call a friend, call a mentor, call somebody that's going to be your accountability partner, or talk some positivity into you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a huge thing. But the big thing is having that thing for yourself, because I found also a lot of entrepreneurs tend to be caretakers outside of work too.
Mm-hmm.
They're the one that's always trying to do the things for other people, take care of other people, and you're constantly running out of energy.
Yeah, it could be and get exhausting.
Yes.
I'd imagine. So what you talked about motivation, what motivates you outside of, when you're just like, oh, I need some motivation. What motivates you?
Anything creative.
Okay.
I found that that's been probably a big key thing for me. For a couple of reasons. I get excited about it, but there's certain creative things that also calm me down, because you guys know this as entrepreneurs, it's you're managing chaos. You're a constant chaos coordinator. I said if we have any title, that's probably the one that we would take.
Yeah.
Right? The cool part about being creative is you're using different parts of your brain, and what I found is painting. I love painting, and it really calms me down because I'm not doing it for anybody. It's not a performance. There's no expectations around it. So I ended up choosing abstract painting, because then you can make messes with it and it still looks pretty cool.
That's awesome. I have seen some of your paintings they're beautiful.
Thank you.
Have you seen any of those, Dan? You gotta check those out.
I don't believe so. I was actually just imagining myself painting and then being like, oh man.
Finger painting. Yeah.
Or just watch a Bob Ross video. If you need calm down,
Happy
like
little trees.
Yes. And his voice is so soothing.
I know. And the brush, how he always does the little brush strokes.
Love that guy.
That's awesome. Dan, what's your motivation when you're like, oh, I can't, because you're always so busy and crazy. So
integrity, commitment to others, commitment to myself. If I say I'm going to do something, like 100% it gets done.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if I don't want to do something, like I'm up, I have to do it. Creating opportunities for others is a big one. I just like to build and grow. It's kind of with your creativity thing. You're kind of talking some of the words I was thinking, about being an entrepreneur. So all that fun stuff.
Yeah. I think remembering your, you always hear about the know your why, going back to your purpose around it. And I think one of the things that a lot of people we don't learn this as kids, but learning what your values are, around work, around life, around your family, and knowing what's important to you, so you can fall back on that.
Yeah. So, okay, explain to us a little bit. So there's mindset and there's positive thinking.
Yes.
So I've always been like, okay, I got to focus on positive thinking, but they're two very different things. Can you explain that to us and our listeners?
Absolutely. So going back to hobbies, I was always into the very fun adrenaline junkie stuff. So between motorcycles and shooting sports, through shooting sports, I learned about positive affirmations. If anybody hasn't read this book yet, go check out With Winning in Mind by Lanny Basham. Okay. He's an Olympic rifle shooter, gold medalist multi-times, and his book is about positive affirmations. And it's teaching you to speak and to write things in the present tense and in a positive light. For example, you have kids.
Yeah.
If you ever told your kids, hey, don't spill the milk, what do?
Yeah.
Because their unconscious now thinks they have to think about spilling the milk to not spill the milk. So rather than voicing it that way, hey, be intentional, or hey, please remember to be careful, spinning it in a positive light. And we can do that in everything that we do, in the insurance agency. If maybe someone made a mistake, rather than calling it a mistake, hey, in the future, let's do this, on the positive.
Yeah, more coaching.
Yes.
Instead of.
Yes.
Pointing.
It feels better.
It does feel, and it also feels better as the receiver as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, it's you start thinking about our world is created in communication.
Yes.
Right, and so how we communicates our world, the feelings of others, feelings of ourselves, and whatnot. And so it's it's important to be have a level of awareness probably certainly helps you, right? And it sounds like, that press play coaching embodies that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it all comes down to everybody is going to hear things through their filters, when their filters are shaped by their experiences, by their whatever mood they're in too. I may be able to say something to you and it means something completely different to you than, it does to somebody else.
Sure. Yeah. So let's tie this back. We keep talking, business owners, and what holds people back. We all know there's a right decision to make a move, but then there's all of that fear and everything else that just like keeps us from moving forward, and there's no execution. So what's happening there?
Yeah.
Like, where do we get tied up?
It's limiting beliefs and, in your values, in your subconscious. It's things that maybe you've picked up along the way. A lot of people hold on to what we call baggage, your BS, so to speak, and that's often, it's, that cliche saying of, we're all in our own way. That's what it is. And some of us we aren't consciously aware of it because it's embedded in our programming, in our patterns that we're running.
It's what we are telling ourselves day in and day out, which I just learned that not too long ago. I'm a positive person, and then
if you have to say you're a positive person
I know,
over and over
I've
and
always
over.
thought in the mindset, and then I'm like, gosh, I'm really getting in my own way here because I'm not thinking. And brother, he's calling me out on stuff, because I would say you have a very positive mindset. Always have. You're always kind of like stay the course, whereas me, it's taking me longer to get to that place where I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. So it really depends on the individual. And so talk to us about how what does it mean to press play?
Oh, I love this. So it comes from music and also taking action. I think I actually had a friend of mine write down and model how I decide to take action on something, because I wanted to know, okay, what causes me to do that? And she's like, Kimmy, this sounds kind of weird, but you lack inhibition. She's like, I don't mean that in a bad way. She's like, but you don't see an obstacle, so you just go for it. I said, cool. How can I help people do that same thing?
That's awesome.
That's the number one thing people come to me for is I want to hit a goal, or I'm not able to do XYZ. Maybe I need more confidence. I have fear. And I'm like, well, how do you get over that? And I love music. So the first thing I thought was, well, if I want to, press play on something, that's kind of where that came from.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that.
That's cool. So, quick question. So 18 years in the insurance business, right? At what point during that 18 years did, you kind of get to the point to where, this coaching emerged, or this, mindset emerged, right? Was it always there? Where did it start? Like, what was that inflection point?
Yeah, I would say it was around 2022 when I sold my first agency, because when you've built something and put your blood, sweat, and tears in it, and then you don't have it anymore, I had I wouldn't call it an identity crisis, but it definitely was a piece of me that I didn't realize my identity was tied into that. Because after that, people are like, well, what do you do? And I can't say I'm an insurance agency owner anymore. I was like, well, wait, And right around that time was when I started learning about communication, about mindset, and really started diving into that. So probably around that time that it really changed, and it helped me in recruiting people. It helped me in training, because you learn that everyone has a different learning style and listening style too. Like my favorite one is knowing the difference between someone that's a literal listener or an inferential listener. For example, I tend to be someone that hears things very literally, but I speak inferentially. So let's say the trash is full at home, and I might look at my boyfriend and say, oh, the trash is full. He's like, okay, the trash is full. What I meant was, hey, can you take out the trash?
Yeah.
But I lose
hint,
that.
Hint. Yeah. Hint.
And I think in any kind of relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship, business partnerships, people that, are on your team, knowing just that one tool of how people listen can change the game, and how you speak to them. And, you may find that someone's a literal listener, and you just need to be a little more direct in your language.
Oh, how do you pick up on that?
Well, that's super fun. I would be like, you just got to tell me to take out the trash.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just going to keep
Yeah.
filling up. Like, I think we can push it down. We can fit some more
So
stuff
you're
in there.
a literal listener, is that?
Yeah, I'm 100% a literal listener.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need a due date. I need to know,
Yeah.
what the project
Tell
is.
me what you want.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So why do disciplined, high achieving people kind of hit that same ceiling?
It's a pattern that they're running. And they may not be aware of what they're doing as well. So a lot of the work that I do in my coaching is with the unconscious, because that's where all our patterns are stored.
Okay.
And a lot of them, it's a limiting belief or a negative emotion that they've just held on to. I call it baggage. We'll reference it as baggage.
Mhm.
It's something that they've been holding on to and may not understand that that's what's in the way.
Got it.
So we uncover that.
And how do you identify when results have been achieved? And, how do I know, like, yes, I finally got there? It probably
Yes.
takes some people longer than others.
It's very immediate. So
Oh, good.
what attracted me to this modality was how rapid it works. And so basically with what I do, we typically take people through a breakthrough session before we do any one-on-one coaching. The breakthrough session is getting rid of all that BS.
Mhm.
Basically, we uncover whatever patterns they're running, we release it, then we set an intention, and then we set a goal, and then make sure that they're present in that goal. So that's how they know that it worked, is that they're able to hit their goal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then do you hold them accountable?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it,
Oh, yeah.
Is it kind of like having an aha moment, right? Like they're, you're doing the coaching, and then there's just something that maybe they didn't know that they didn't know or couldn't see, and then all of a sudden through the coaching they're able to see that, and then the pattern changes and shifts like that.
I think that's my favorite part about what I do, is seeing someone's light bulb go off.
Mhm.
And a lot of that comes from it's from a pattern interrupt, whether it's through reframing, or I show them a different perspective, or my favorite thing is when they find it themselves. They're just talking through it, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, I figured it out. I'm like, yes. Yeah.
And then round of applause.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome. What would you say is kind of the biggest challenge that you've faced in coaching agency owners or training individuals and the high achievers?
Mhm.
What do you think your biggest challenge is there?
Probably the biggest challenge is I'm one of those people that wants to help everybody, and not everybody wants to be helped. I think when it comes to working with somebody in a coaching level, it's got to be somebody that will be willing to do the work and be willing to dive into the hard stuff. And for me, I was one of those people that I remained surface level with a lot of folks until I learned what this was, because once you go deeper, now you're hitting those emotions, and now you're hitting the stuff that doesn't feel good, but that's what coaching is for, is getting uncomfortable so that you can make that change. And not everybody's always ready for that. And I think the most challenging part as a coach is you see through your filters what they could be, and they've got to want it,
Yeah.
Mhm.
And how do you structure the coaching?
Great question. So I always start with just a little bit of rapport. Let's talk about how your week was, and then we talk about basically what problem are we trying to solve.
Mhm.
When it comes to a breakthrough session, we typically do what I call like a detailed personal history, where they just tell me all your problems, and and what's cool about what I do with NLP and MER, it stands for mental emotional release. We talk about the things the patterns that they're running without them having to re-experience it. I'm listening more for like the context than the actual content. So if I hear what I needed to hear, we move on to something different. That way they're not, if they experience trauma or something that, brings up icky feelings, we typically can get what we need to get and move on from it.
Okay.
Got it. And is it like a 1 day coaching, a 1 week, a 1 month, a 1 year? Typically how's that structured? Is there an average? Like, how's that all work?
Yeah, what I found is starting with a breakthrough session, that way we can clear out all the BS and then we can move forward. Breakthrough session can either, we can do it in a day, or what I've found is people really like doing it in 2 days. We break it up into sessions, because that way, let's say it was a heavy session, they can go home and rest, and then next day we do the release work after that. With the one-on-one coaching where we set a goal and hold them accountable, I say at least 90 days. It takes 90 days to build a habit.
Okay.
Yeah. I have clients that work with me longer, but my goal is for them to eventually hit their goals and, go do your stuff.
Right. Well, then it becomes a solution, right?
Yeah.
Rather than, I just was thinking about like medication, instead of like solving the problem, you treat the problem, but
Exactly.
it sounds like, the coaching is based around solving
Absolutely.
solutions.
Yes.
Do you do team coaching, or is
Yes.
it just specifically one-on-one?
Yeah,
Team
no, we
coaching
do.
as well.
I do both.
Okay.
I love teams because it's interactive,
Mhm.
and what's really fun about working with teams is then they get to see each other in a different light than just, when they're behind their desks. You might learn something about the person that you work with, and now you become friends, or you understand how they communicate, and now maybe you didn't like each other before. Like my favorite experience is we did a personality assessment at one of my prior roles, me and another gal. We didn't know each other at all. But once we learned about our personalities and our communication styles, and we were able to communicate at that level, we actually became really good friends after that. I learned, that she's one of those people that after an event or after a meeting, she needs to go and decompress. Where
Mhm.
some people could potentially see that as, oh, she doesn't want to hang out with us, or oh, she's maybe mad at me or something like that. And no, she just needed to go get quiet time,
Yeah.
little things like that.
Maybe read a book
Mhm.
or something.
Yeah.
That's what I like doing.
And some people are the opposite, they want to be in it, they
Yeah.
like their people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how long, so I know that you were in the insurance world for 18 years, right?
Mhm.
And you had your agency, and then you sold that in 2022,
Mhm.
right? And then started Press Play Coaching. So how long did you own the agency before you sold it?
That one was 4 or 5 years.
Okay, 4
Yeah.
or 5 years.
Mhm.
So what is it that I guess you've learned through, your journey of NLP
NLP. Yeah.
that would have helped you
Ooh.
throughout those 4 years?
Oh my gosh. It would probably specifically be around communicating with my team and with my business partners. Going back to that, the literal versus inferential, and setting goals and asking better questions. I think one of the biggest takeaways from coaching is learning how to ask better questions,
Mm-hmm.
great questions. Because if you come in at a curiosity level instead of just making statements, it allows the other person to share more that you may not have been open to. I think that's really important, especially in business partnerships. I think he wouldn't mind me talking about it because we're better friends now that we're not in business anymore. But we were trying to play the same role,
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't talk about that prior and didn't understand that that's what was happening. So that created a lot of friction. And now after the fact, we figured that out, and we're like, dang, maybe we'll do it again. Like it was. If I knew now what I knew then, it would definitely look a lot different.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that sounds like that distinction, again, it's one of those things that you don't really think about, but then once you make the distinction, you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yep. It was solvable for sure.
Yeah. And so I had just a question, and it escaped me kind of around, it was around the agency owners. Well, in Darkhorse, we work with agents that are, looking to make a big shift,
Mhm.
and they, get to a point. So when you decided to sell your agency and move forward, what was the deciding factor for you, and how could you help others, make that decision, and instead of say paused, press play?
Yep. That's
Yeah,
exactly it. I
there you
love
go.
it. That's
Press
exactly
play.
There you go.
Yes. So going back to what NLP is, it's modeling excellence. Is, let's say you're somebody getting into a new industry, or, using Darkhorse as an example, someone leaving captive world, going
Mhm.
independent. Like that's a big change. Go find someone that's doing it really well
Right?
and model them. I know that sounds so simple, but when I mean model, I mean down to the T. Like, what time do they come into the office? How many calls are they making? What systems are they using? You know, even down to the technology if you need to. The more you can model that and become that, now all you have to do is take the action to accomplish that.
Yeah, you take all
Yeah,
that.
if someone else is doing it, why can't you?
Yeah,
that's
exactly. I know. Whew.
I say that all the time.
Yes, you do. That's what I'm saying. Your mindset has always just been like, boop,
just go do.
Tier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go
and
do.
And getting through that is just getting rid of limiting beliefs, you know, and things that may be stuck in there that most people don't even know that they're in there.
Limiting beliefs is a big one.
It
I
is.
Just the other day I was sitting on a training just kind of in the background, and you know, when you're telling someone like you're too busy or you might have too many accounts to manage, you're limiting their belief, you know, and you're kind of telling them, and I'm just like, hold on, wait a second, you know, this person is doing, you know, 3 times that and they're fine. It's a matter of bandwidth and efficiency and a lot of those types of things. So don't limit your own beliefs and don't limit others' beliefs.
100%.
Right?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's...
Yep. What we say into the world matters, and what we say up here matters.
It sure does.
Yeah.
It sure does. And that took, like I said, it takes other people long time. It took me a while to identify that in myself and like, what are you doing? You can do this.
Yeah. Oh, I've had moments of that too. And I think some of the best advice that I got actually was through hypnosis training. Also something
Talk
that
to us
I
about
do.
that. That sounds interesting.
Oh, I love it. So going into it, I had the same misconceptions that a lot of people do about hypnosis. You think about the stage shows that you see, you know, people clucking like a chicken.
I know, get Dan to bark like a dog.
Yeah, exactly.
I do that anyway.
Or falling asleep, you know, you're getting sleepy.
Yeah.
It's not that. Think about, have you ever been driving somewhere and all of a sudden you arrive to your destination, you're like, how the heck did I get here?
Yes.
You were zoned out. You were in a trance. That's essentially what hypnosis is. It's just super deep, relaxed state. And then the hypnotherapist talks to your subconscious.
Oh, wow. How often do you do that in your practice?
Usually comes with the breakthrough session. And I actually have clients that's all they want is just whether we're talking affirmations or trying to rewire a pattern, we're talking to the subconscious through hypnosis.
Do you hypnotize them? Are you the one doing it?
Yeah.
Wow. Now, is it true that not everyone can be hypnotized?
Everyone can be hypnotized.
Everyone can be
Really?
hypnotized?
Yes, that was going to be my next question too.
And the more you do it, the better you get at it. So the reason I brought that up was same thing with when we're coming up against limiting beliefs is the best advice I got was just pretend you can do it. And I was like, what does that mean? So if someone's having a hard time getting into trance, we tell them just pretend that you're in trance, and all of a sudden, poof, you see them, they're out. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So I started using that in coaching around if somebody wants to hit a certain goal, and I'm like, well, pretend that you're already that. And you end up becoming that because you're starting to embody those characteristics that you need to show up to do that thing. And I think where a lot of us, and I'm one of those people, you know, we grow up being taught, you know, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know, what kind of job are you going to get to go buy the big house, you know, the white picket fence, all of that. But we're never taught, well, who do you want to be? What characteristics do we need to have to go and get that? And important thing, you know, through coaching is we focus on the who are you, because everything else is going to follow when you have those characteristics inside you.
Sure. And also I think too is I think people put a time limit on things, and once they hit a certain age or season in their life, we think we can't. There's not enough time. Timing's off, and I think that's a huge limiting belief.
You just got to extend your life.
Yeah,
That's
or
what I
just
do.
do
I
it.
was like, I'm going to 100, 120.
Just do it. You probably will. You'll like
advances in medical
freeze
science.
your
You know,
cryo-
I've heard 250 out there, so I'm very optimistic.
I don't want to live till.
No, you stay the same age. You just you grow in number, but not in.
Okay.
I think it goes back to what you said was it's other people's limiting beliefs. Like you may have heard your parents say, oh, you know, when you turn 50, you're going to get gray hairs. You know,
Yeah.
Now your subconscious thinks that. Now your body's going to give you gray hairs because you think that's what's supposed to happen, you know? Like,
Right. I'm done. Goose is cooked.
Yep.
Can't go any further. Oh my gosh.
That's funny. So hypnotherapy, is that what you call it? So what other, like, let's just call that a product, right? What other products or trainings or whatever do you have that are like that?
So I actually teach what I do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
I actually
wow.
have a certification to train people to become an NLP practitioner, to become a hypnotherapist, to do mental emotional release. My goal is to get in front of more people and teach them this so that they can go and help other people. I think that's when I said I wish I could help everybody. That's how I do it, is through helping other people help other people.
Yeah. That's
'Cause
awesome.
I'm just one person, man.
Yeah.
Limiting belief alert.
Yeah, right.
Alert, alert. I think, did we miss anything as it's, wait, I know. How can people find you and book with you and your team?
Yeah. I would say social media is probably going to be the best, or my website. It's just my name, KimikoDonahue.com, or you can get to it from pressplaycoach.com.
Mm-hmm.
And on all social media, it's Press Play Coach. And I really enjoy working with entrepreneurs. I really enjoy working with people that have felt underestimated in their life. Whether you were labeled with something, if you're neurodivergent and you've got ADHD, whatever. I have a background in that, and I was diagnosed with Tourette's, ADHD, OCD, WTF, all the things, right?
Yeah.
When I was younger. And I carried that with me and made it a part of my identity. And as I've gotten older, realizing that those are your superpowers, and that's just a label that you put on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I love working with people that have had that, or told that, oh, you're too dumb, or you're too small, to do something. Like, well, let's go prove them wrong.
Right.
Like
Right.
that's my favorite type of people to work with.
Yeah.
Are
That's
you
awesome.
do you only work with people that are local, or are you able to work remote?
We can do remote, absolutely. Yeah, Zoom. We can do stuff through Zoom calls, or I've even had people come to Tucson, to come meet with me.
That's cool. Can you hypnotize people via Zoom?
Yes.
Really?
Dan
Yes.
wants to be
I just
hypnotized.
I'm that intrigued me.
Dan
Deal.
wants to be. Do people fight it?
Yes.
You would fight it, I think.
That's okay. We work through
Maybe
it.
not. You would really.
I got this whole other thing going on in my head now.
You need to be hypnotized.
Oh, that's funny.
We'd get her done.
Yeah. What and what's the what's the cost structure like?
I would send them. It depends on what they want.
Mhm.
I think it's going to be based on timeline. It's going to be based on their goals around that. I actually for 2026 have a new structure for group training as well. So I'd say stay tuned, and I can get that to you guys.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Just curious. I think I'm just trying to think if there's is there anything we missed as it relates to business, what you do?
I think it's really just who I enjoy working with.
Mhm.
I'm not for everybody, and I've come to terms with that. Like I said, I was the person that wanted to help everyone,
Sure.
and that was a limiting belief that I had to get over. Is what? Not everyone's gonna be the perfect client for you. I want to work with people that actually want to do the work, that want to be honest with themselves, and will actually go and take action based on what they want to do.
I
Yeah.
feel like can be pretty challenging, right? Like
Maybe.
finding I mean, how many I guess I'm just trying to think. How many people like come to you versus are directly referred? I remember like some of the personal development stuff that I did was not because I necessarily wanted to, but someone was very committed to having me do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in your experience, is it, are a lot of people reaching out to you excited, like, yeah, I need to do this, I need help, or is it more like someone else is like, hey, they're bringing them to you and kind of on their behalf helping them through it?
I'd say lately it's people reaching out to me, and a lot of it has to do with identity. I think probably the last handful of people that I've worked with just didn't know what they wanted to do in the next chapter.
Mhm.
Whether they were leaving a job, maybe they're about to retire, or maybe they're looking at changing careers, or maybe their kids are moving out. Like life's going to look a lot different, and they were looking for purpose. And I'd say the other half are probably all around confidence, just
Okay.
wanting to show up bigger and better. Whether it was Maybe they want to be a better speaker. Maybe they just want to be able to lead their team better. Probably the third most common one is they want to make more money.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
There you go. Right. Well, when you, I guess, I don't know if I want how I want to say it, but like improve, or you come to those realizations. It translates to the financial piece oftentimes, because
100%.
you get rid of those limiting beliefs, and you're, the actions that you're taking are different, and
everything's more intentional. I found when I have a coach for all kinds of different things. Like I pick a coach that I know specializes in that, like a personal trainer, like that's who you go to, to go work out. There's life coaches, mindset coaches, there's business coaches. What I found is when you're doing that, you are so much more intentional about what you choose to do throughout the day. That's the secret. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're right. It's like walking into the gym and looking at the entire gym and just being like,
what weight do I pick up?
And then have the motivation to pick it up. I mean, I even know for myself, like, now I go to a class because I just need to get in there and have someone tell me what to do.
Yeah, I like classes.
So I walk. So I actually, all I need to do is walk in the building, and then I'm good. But if I have to do it, with everything I have going on.
Are you competitive?
Yeah, I'd say I'm competitive.
Yeah, I think that's. I'm the same way. Classes are fun because then you see someone going harder, and you're like, oh, come on. Yeah, definitely motivating.
Yeah, that 100% is.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, all great stuff. Super interesting. We like to finish every show with Ask Me Anything. So it's you asking me a question, business or personal related, and I'll do my best to answer.
Ooh. Well, since we're on the topic of limiting beliefs and fear, if you had no fear, what would you go do right after this podcast?
Ooh.
Well, the very first thing that came to mind was probably skydiving.
Yes.
And I don't necessarily fear the jumping out of the plane. I fear being that very small percentage that the parachute doesn't.
That's because
open.
We're insurance people. Yes, that's a probability.
And of course, then I look back and I'm like, I got my son, who I is my world, and the impact of making that, taking that one action with that small percentage of consequence, what it would mean to him, and do I really need to jump out that plane?
Spoken like a true risk manager.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right. So yeah, that was the first thing that came to mind. Anything else? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that just like you recommend, like I'll just like, okay, this is what I need to do, or this is what I haven't done. That's another way too, where I'm like, okay, what haven't I done? And trying to, I'm headed towards a goal, and I've done everything I could to achieve that goal, and I start looking, I'm like, what haven't I done?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, the thing that I don't want to do, I'm not comfortable doing, and that could be public speaking. It could be a lot of different things. And so I think, a big percentage of the battle, maybe 80%, maybe that's high, I don't know, is just actually taking the action. Just actually doing it, walking through the door.
Yep.
And over, knowing you're going to walk through the door, and you may not get it right the first time, but you're going to learn.
Yeah.
And so it's that's the type of stuff that
I love that. I think if I can leave with any advice to people, especially if it is more public speaking or just getting uncomfortable, go take an improv class. If you want to get rid of being afraid of looking like an ass in front of people, improv is the way to do it.
That was suggested to me.
Cool.
By our marketing company.
Let's go.
Dan, you should take some improv classes.
That actually sounds fun.
I'll go do that with you.
That'd be so much fun.
Like, what are you trying to say about my videos I'm putting out there?
Oh, no.
I see where you're going with. That's one of those conversation things you were talking about, where it's like full trash versus, you should really take the improv videos and just saying, instead of saying I suck on video.
You need to go. But now don't put that in your head.
Yeah.
You do not suck on
There
video.
you go.
That's funny.
Awesome. Well, it's great having you here.
Yeah,
we
thank
greatly
you guys.
appreciate it.
Thanks, Kimmy.
Super fun to learn about press play coaching and really honestly like small things but make big differences in your mindset and distinctions and all that stuff. So all very cool. Thanks for being here. Super exciting stuff.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into our podcast, From the Darkhorse's Mouth. If you want to learn more about us, go to darkhorseinsurance.com.
And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn at Darkhorse Insurance Brokers, and email any questions to podcast@darkhorseinsurance.com. Thank you.